was the bronze medalist in the 1991 World Championships.
Greg Edgelow, 28 years old, from Vernon, BC.
Greg is not inexperienced in international competition. He's fairly well-traveled. He placed second in the 1990 Canada Cup. He was third in the 1990 Goodwill Games. He's placed as high as 8th in the World Championships and was third in the Pan American Games. His opponent, LaMonta, carries a little bit higher credentials in terms of world competition. He was bronze medalist in '91. And that's why you saw the Greco-Roman style at its best. They gave him 5 points for that throw. At least the referee has indicated 5 points. And in fact, he had agreement. Now you get an extra couple of points because it looks good, essentially. He had Edgelow going right up over the top. And when you get that kind of full arcing motion on the throw, then you're going to get an extra couple of points beyond the 3 that you normally get. So it's 5-0 in a very short match.
This is at the official's discretion.
Well, there's a definite criteria. There are criteria for them to follow, but in fact, it's up to them to decide whether or not the criteria of amplitude was met.
Right.
And then they correctly called that a 5-point move. So what that means now is LaMonta has a 5-point edge on Greg, and there's
3.5.
Right. He's in a position where he's now going to have to tie up with somebody who's just thrown him, because if he doesn't tie up, he's not going to get any big points. He can get 1 point at a time when leg takedowns, but that's not going to be enough.
Again, we're seeing lots of upper body movement, and we're waiting for those peak opportunities.
That's right.
To arise, to use those lower extremities that we saw earlier on in the freestyle.
They're calling LaMonta for passivity correctly. And as soon as the referee reminds LaMonta that it's time to wrestle, he gets back to business and does just that, scoring a takedown out of bounds. It started right in the middle of the mat. Now he'll go back to jockeying for position again, and then his explosion is his key. The first move came so explosively. LaMonta again, very methodical in setting up his moves. And Greg just can't seem to figure out any opening on him.
With just over 2 minutes left on the clock, he's going to have to make a move here quick.
Well, I think he'd like to do is tie up, but the problem with that is that LaMonta's so darn good from the position where they're locked up in the upper body that that's probably the most dangerous position for him. But Greg has no real choices here. He's got to score some points. Again, an extremely explosive leg takedown. Very explosive wrestler. Robert LaMonta from Cuba, bronze medalist in the 1991 Worlds, and you're seeing why. Extremely explosive wrestler. Greg's got to be going back to the center, shaking his head. How can I open up? How can I get some sort of an opening on this wrestler? There just doesn't seem to be anything there for him. That defense was improved over the other attacks. Greg is attacking on the legs, but he's only going about halfway in and before he meets LaMonta's defense, which is just as solid as his offense.
Greg Edgelow will need to make a move here pretty quick, just over 1 minute.
He's engaging the battle, but there's just nothing there for him to attack. LaMonta's solid in the defensive position, and he's got so much good offense that you have to respect that. You can't just walk in blindly.
LaMonta initiating some of those explosive moves, again very close to the perimeter. We talked about that before. Maybe when either opponent's defenses are down a little, is that a fair assessment? Or
sure. Well, in this case, I don't think that had a lot to do with the takedown. I think he just took it. But very frequently, takedowns near the end of the mat are accomplished because somebody let their guard down and assumed that the action was going to be blown dead. And that's what we call concentration and intensity. To Edgelow's credit, he didn't go over there for that gut wrench. LaMotta didn't get an extra 2 points, and sometimes in a match like this, you have to look for small victories. Maybe the overall picture doesn't look that good, but not allowing your opponent to turn you can be a victory that's very important in terms of your progress. I'm sure that Greg's looking for at least a minimum of scoring some points in this match so he can come out of it with feeling as though he's accomplished something.
He's not going to have the time, though.
Nope.
And that will do it. Well, he's learned a valuable lesson.
He's wrestled